Hey, good morning, seventh grade. Or afternoon. I don't know when you guys are watching this, but it's morning for me. I do my videos in the mornings most of the time when I'm kind of fresh and there isn't a whole lot of hectic, crazy noise going on in my house. Well, you might have heard some noise in the background in a couple of the videos because my family's here. But, anyways, I'm here with you for grammar. So, we're going to talk about the grammar pages that I've had you work on over the last couple weeks. So we're talking about prepositions. Now remember, prepositions normally, under normal circumstances, they usually tell you position of something. So it's under, it's above, it's over, it's going towards, things like that. Sometimes it gives you more details, but a lot of times it has to do with position. Prepositional phrases begin with a preposition and then they end with the object of the preposition, which is always a noun. And sometimes there's some adjectives in between. So the papers that you've been working on have you picking out prepositional phrases. So that's why I had you memorize your prepositions, because then it's easier if you know your prepositions, then you can very easily pick them out in a sentence and then you'll be able to find your prepositional phrases. Now you'll notice that some of the prepositions can also function as adverbs in a sentence, and we're going to talk about that later. But for now, I want you to get out your pages 140, let's see, what was it? 145 and 146, and I'm going to go over the answers so you can check them. Make sure you make any corrections of any things that you missed. And if you really, really screwed them all up, then you should go back and watch some of the preposition videos that I posted last week and see if you can get a handle on these prepositions, okay? Or email me or text me. We can talk about it over the phone or on Zoom, okay? So looking at page 145, we're looking at prepositions. Remember, a preposition relates an object to other words in the sentence. An object of the preposition is the noun or pronoun that follows the preposition. It's the object that is actually doing whatever or relates to the other parts of the sentence. The prepositional phrase is both the preposition, the object of the preposition, and any of the words that come between them. So the practice has you labeling and placing parentheses around each prepositional phrase, labeling them with a P, and then labeling each object of the preposition with OP, which stands for object of the preposition. So number one, Ronald Reagan's birthplace is near Chicago, Illinois. Near is the preposition. Chicago, Illinois is your OP. So your preposition starts at near, ends in after Illinois. Number 9, on March 4th, 1952, Reagan married Nancy Davis. On March 1952 is your prepositional phrase. On is the preposition, and the date is the OP. Number 3, your prepositional phrase is to the governor's office. To is a preposition. Office is the noun that is the object of the preposition. In number 4, your prepositional phrase is against President Carter. Against is a preposition, and President Carter is the OP. It's a formal name, so you can count both words. Number 5, among the Republican candidates. That is the prepositional phrase. Your prep is among, and the object is candidates. Number 6, except Iowa and Michigan. Except is a preposition. Iowa and Michigan are both the objects. So it's a compound object. So they both should get OP. Number 7, in Michigan primary is a prepositional phrase. In is the preposition. Primary is the object. And then there's a second one in this sentence, with George Bush. With is also a preposition, and George Bush is the object of that preposition. Number 8, until May 26, 1980 is your prepositional phrase. Until is the preposition. May 26, 1980 is the object. Number 9, for their nominee. For is a preposition. Nominee is the object. Number 10, in the 1980 presidential campaign. That's a long one. In is the preposition. Campaign is the object. All right, so make corrections. And if you're having a hard time, you might need to go back and review your prepositions. That, I think, was the easier of the two exercises. This exercise here, where you have to label the verbs as transitive, intransitive, and find the direct objects, is a little bit trickier. This is on page 146. So here you need to paste parentheses around each prepositional phrase. They want you to label the object of the preposition as OP, and then label the sentence pattern, subject, intransitive verb, or subject, transitive verb, direct object, or subject, transitive verb, indirect object, direct object. Now remember, a linking verb is an intransitive verb, or a verb that doesn't, a verb that doesn't have an object is a transitive verb. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Intransitive. Oh man, I'm messing up. Maybe it's a little bit too early. All right. I mean, it's, it's intransitive. It doesn't have an object. It's transitive if it has an object, or if it has an object and direct object. Now remember, the direct object answers the question who or what after the verb, and the indirect object answers the question to whom or to what without using the actual to. If the actual to is in the sentence, then you have a prepositional phrase because to is a preposition. So for example, if I said that I baked my husband a cake, I is the subject, verb is a transitive verb because what did I bake? I baked a cake. So cake is the direct object. To whom did I bake it? My husband. So my husband would be the indirect object. Now, it was sort of tricky that they put the indirect object sentence pattern in this, in the directions, because I don't think any of these sentences actually have an indirect object, but some of them do have direct objects. So I'm going to go over those with you now. So number one, in the 16th century, French immigrant workers greatly advanced the art of paper mache. So first you're picking out the prepositional phrases. In the 16th century is one, the object is century. Of paper mache is also a prepositional phrase, and paper mache is the object. The subject of the sentence is workers, and advanced is the transitive verb. Now it's transitive because we can answer the question what? Advanced what? Advanced art, and art is the direct object. Number two, this art casts paper strips onto a mold. Onto a mold is a prepositional phrase, mold being the object. Art is the subject, cast is a verb. Casts what? It casts paper strips, which really it's strips is the direct object. So it's cast is transitive. Number three, some people place petroleum jelly underneath the strips. Underneath the strips is a prepositional phrase, and strips is the object. People is the subject, place is the transitive verb. It's transitive because jelly answers what? Place what? Jelly. That's the direct object. Number five, smaller pieces against the mold form better. Now this one's sort of tricky because against the mold is a prepositional phrase and this right smack dab in the middle of the sentence. My nose is itchy. You guys make my nose itchy. Yeah, okay. Where was I? Against the mold. So mold is the object. Pieces is the subject and form is the verb. Now, form what? We just have better. Better is a predicate adjective, not an object. So we don't have an object. So form is intransitive. Number six, for variety, you may use different colored paper. For variety is an object, a prepositional phrase with variety being the object. You is the subject. May use is the verb. May use what? May use paper. Paper is the direct object. May use is transitive. Number seven, across the first layer, you should place the second layer. Across the first layer is a prepositional phrase with layer being the object. You is the subject of the sentence. Should place is the verb. Should place what? Should place second layer. Layer is the direct object, so should place is transitive. Number eight, each layer of strips covers the previous layer. Of strips is a prepositional phrase, strips being the object. Layer is the subject of that sentence, and covers is the verb. Covers what? Covers previous layer. So layer is the direct object, and covers is a transitive verb. Number nine, each piece must lie smoothly upon the mold. Upon the mold is a prepositional phrase, mold being the object. Piece is the subject, must is the verb, must what? Or must lie, actually. Must lie is the verb. Must lie what? Smoothly is a predicate adjective, not a direct object. It doesn't answer what, it answers how. So therefore, in fact, it's not even a predicate adjective, it's an adverb. So it's an intransitive verb. Must lie is intransitive. Number 10, otherwise air may stay between the layers. Between the layers is a prepositional phrase, with layers being the object of the preposition. So air is the subject, may stay is an intransitive verb because there's nothing left to be the object. All right, so now we're moving on and we're going to talk about the functions of prepositional phrases. We use prepositional phrases to modify nouns. That's one of the ways. When we do this, it's called an adjectival, adjective. It's an adjective prepositional phrase because adjectives modify nouns. So if you're using the prepositional phrase to modify a noun and give more information about a noun, it's called an adjectival prepositional phrase. So in the examples here on page 146, they give us Naaman was a captain of the host. Of the host is giving us more information about captain. The prophet of God taught Naaman a lesson in obedience. Of God is a prepositional phrase giving us information about the prophet. So it's an adjective. Its functioning is an adjective. Naaman, they taught, so the lesson in obedience is a prepositional phrase telling us more information about the lesson. So it functions in an adjective. Another way that we can use prepositional phrases is to modify verbs. And when you do that, they call it an adverbial prepositional phrase because we know that adverbs give more information about verbs. That it can also give more information about another adjective. Okay, so for example, on top of page 147 now, we have at the airport, we waited inside the terminal. At the airport is telling you where we waited. It's giving us more information about the waiting, so it's adverbial. Inside the terminal also gives us more information about where we waited. So again, it's adverbial. The airplane coasted to a smooth stop at 6:45. So to a smooth tells us when it coasted, and also at 6:45, well, to a smooth tells us how. To a smooth stop at 6:45 tells us when. Both of those prepositional phrases are modifying coasted, so they are considered adverbial. Both examples, so those examples contain two prepositional phrases. They both modified the verb. Now, sometimes you'll notice a prepositional phrase that's acting like an adverb can appear in different places. So sometimes it's at the beginning of the sentence, sometimes it's in the middle of the sentence, sometimes it's at the end of the sentence. The placing of the prepositional phrase within the sentence doesn't have a whole lot to do with what it modifies. Like, you have to realize what it is giving you more information about. Although your adjectives, I had to double check this before I said it, but the adjectival ones often normally will go right after the noun that they modify, but the adverbial ones can be anywhere. All right, so sometimes sometimes you have both in the same sentence. So here we have, he carried his suitcase to the trunk of our car. So in this case, carried to the trunk is modifying carried. Where did he carry it? So that one is adverbial, but then of our car modifies trunk, which is the object of the other prepositional phrase, but that makes it I'm having trouble with that word. It makes it an adjective prepositional phrase because it's modifying trunk, which is a noun. Okay, so sometimes you're going to see prepositional phrases actually modifying part of another prepositional phrase. That doesn't automatically make it an adverb, because if it's modifying the object of the prepositional phrase, then it's an adjective. All right, so then they show you how to diagram, and we're not doing diagramming. Normally I would make you guys do this, but it's really sort of complicated without us being able to do it on the board and discuss it and work on it together and everything. So you can look on page 147 at how a prepositional phrase is always diagrammed underneath the word it modifies. So you can see how they did it. They put to the trunk underneath carried, of our car underneath trunk. So in summarizing what we talked about, prepositional phrases can be used as adjectives to modify nouns or like adverbs to modify verbs. So in your practice, that's what you're going to do, is you're going to pick out and look at what it is the prepositional phrase modifies. Now, first, you have to actually pick out the prepositional phrases, and then you're going to draw an arrow to what they modify. And then on this other page, it looks like you're underlining. On page 149, they have you underlining, whereas on page 148, they have you making parentheses. So I want to go over the first couple with you, and then you can work on them yourself, okay? So on page 148, number 1, many people admire the work of Benjamin West. Of is a preposition, so we know there's a prepositional phrase there. Of Benjamin West is the complete preposition, so you put parentheses over that. And it's giving us more information about the work. It's telling us whose work it is. So you're going to draw the arrow to work. It's modifying work. It's functioning as an adjective. Number 2, Benjamin West lived in a Quaker community in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. In is a preposition. So we're looking for the object, which is going to be community. So in a Quaker community is a prepositional phrase. Put parentheses around it. It's giving us more information about where Benjamin West lived. So it's telling us about his life, where he lived. So draw an arrow to lived. That one is functioning as an adverb. Then we have another one because in is also a preposition. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania is that prepositional phrase. And it's giving us more information about the Quaker community. So you're going to draw an arrow to community. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania is functioning as an adjective, giving us more information about the community. Number 3, his first paintbrushes came from the hairs of the family cat, which is kind of funny. Anyways, from is a preposition. From the hairs is the entire prepositional phrase, and it's giving us more information about where the paintbrushes came from. It's modifying came, functioning as an adverb. Then we have of the family cat. Of is a preposition, family cat. Those all go in parentheses. That's giving us more information about the hairs. So you're going to draw a line from that prepositional phrase or an arrow to the hairs. That one is functioning as an adverb, okay? So I want you to finish those yourself. Then on page 149, turn with me for just a minute. This one has you underlining the adjectival prepositional phrases with just one underline and underlining the adverbial ones with 2. Now, if you'd rather highlight them in different colors or underline one and circle the other, that's fine, as long as you indicate in the directions what you're doing, what works best for you. But so that we can tell the difference. The importance is to be able to tell the difference between the adjective, I'm having troubles with that one, adjectival prepositional phrase and the adverbial prepositional phrase. So first it says, well, Arby, this is a big day for you. For is a preposition. For you is the prepositional phrase. It's modifying the day, so it's adjective. It's functioning as an adjective, so it gets one underline. Draw an arrow from for you to day. I'll do the next sentence. Yes, sir, I said. I'm a little scared about the speech. About is a preposition. So about the speech is the prepositional phrase, and it's actually modifying scared. It's giving us more information, telling us why we're scared. So that in that case, it's functioning as an adverb. So you're going to underline it twice and draw an arrow to scared. Okay? So I want you to work on these. I'm going to give you another video if I can find a good one on YouTube. For you to look at whether these things are functioning as an adverb or an adjective, okay? And then I want you to do these 2 pages, take a picture of them and email them to me, and then next time I do a grammar video, I will go over the answers with you, okay? All right, and then email me if you have any questions, okay? All right, I'll see you again soon. Bye.